Pumpkin soup. Deep in the woods, there was an old white cabin with pumpkins in the garden. There's a good smell of soup, and at night, with luck, you might see a bagpiping cat through the window, a squirrel with a banjo, and a small singing duck. I'll do it a little closer so you can see. Okay, I'll zoom in here again. Pumpkin soup, the best you ever tasted, made by a cat who slices up the pumpkin, made by the squirrel who stirs in the water, made by the duck who scoops up a pipkin of salt and tips it in just enough. They slurp their soup, they play their song, then pop off to bed in a quilt stitched together by the cat, embroidered by the squirrel, and filled with fine feathers from the duck. And it's peaceful in the old white cabin. Everyone has his own job to do. Everyone is happy, or so it seems. Can you tell there's one animal whose eyes are open? But one morning, the duck woke up early. He tiptoed into the kitchen and smiled at the squirrel's special spoon. "Wouldn't it be fine," he murmured, "if I could be the head cook?" He drew up a stool, hopped on top, and reached until his beak just touched the tip of the spoon. Kerplonk, bonk, dong, dong, pooh. Down it clattered. Then the duck trotted back to the bedroom, held up the spoon, and said, "Today it's my turn to stir the soup." And in this picture, you can see he's imagining being the head chef. That's what it means when there's those little floaty bubbles coming from someone's thoughts. That means it's something they're thinking about. "That's mine," squeaked the squirrel. "Stirring is my job. Give that back." "You're much too small," snapped the cat. "We'll cook the way we always have." But the duck held on tight until the squirrel tugged with all his might, and whoops, the spoon spun through the air and bong, bopped the cat on the head. Then there was trouble and a horrible squabble, a row, a racket, a rumpus in the old white cabin. "I'm not staying here," wailed the duck. "You never let me help with anything." And he packed up a wheelbarrow, put on his hat, and waddled away. "You'll be back," stormed the cat, "after we've cleaned up." And the squirrel shook his spoon in the air. But the duck didn't come back. Not for breakfast, not even for lunch. "I'll find him," scoffed the cat. "He'll be hiding outside. I bet he's in the pumpkin patch." But the duck was not in the pumpkin patch. They could not find him anywhere. So they waited all that long afternoon. They're sitting. Squirrel goes inside. Just cat. Cat goes inside. They're looking at the clock, wondering when will he be home. The cat watched the door. The squirrel paced the floor. That duck will be sorry when he comes home, they muttered. But the duck didn't come home, not even at soup time. And look, they're wondering, how much salt do we put in? I don't know. So then remember, this duck just does a pipkin of salt, but look at how much salt they're dumping in. Do you think it's going to be tasty? No. And look, oh, there's the duck's little bowl that he uses. But they didn't know, so they didn't use that. The soup wasn't tasty. They'd made it too salty. They didn't feel hungry anyway. They both sobbed over supper, and their tears dripped into the soup and made it even saltier. We should have let him stir the soup, sniffled the squirrel. He was only trying to help, wept the cat. Let's go out and look for him. The cat and the squirrel were scared as they wandered down the path in the dark, dark woods. They feared for the duck. Okay, now this is what they're imagining. See, this is their thoughts. In their thoughts, they're thinking it's like this. They feared for the duck all alone with the trees and the foxes and the wolves and the witches and the bears. So they're imagining the duck is in the woods with all those animals, but they couldn't find him. On and on they trudged until they reached the edge of a steep, steep cliff. And this is another thing they're imagining. Maybe he fell down that, wailed the cat. I'll save him, squeaked the squirrel, and he scrambled down on a long, shaky rope. He searched all around on the ground, but he couldn't find the duck. Then the cat whispered in a sad little voice. And now this is another thing they're imagining. Duck might have found some better friends. He might, sighed the squirrel, find friends who let him help. And the more they thought about it, as they plodded back, the more they were sure they were right. So they're imagining here that Duck opened up a new restaurant, and it's called Duck's Kitchen. On the sign it says, "It was this soup made Duck famous. How does he do it? They go in thin, they come out fat." But when they were almost home, they saw a light shining from the old white cabin. "It's Duck!" they shrieked as they burst through the door. Oh, and Duck has a tear. And the duck was so happy to see them. He was also very hungry, and though it was late, they thought they would all make some pumpkin soup. Oh, wow, look at Duck. How's he doing stirring? When the duck stirred, the cat and the squirrel didn't say a word, not even when the duck stirred the soup so fast that it slopped right out of the pot. Not even when the pot got burnt. Look at this. So the pot's burning down there, and the cat has to get a fire extinguisher. Then the duck showed the squirrel how to measure out the salt, and the soup was still the very best you ever tasted. So once again, it was peaceful in the old white cabin, until the duck said, "I think I'll play the bagpipes now." And remember, who plays the bagpipes? Yeah, it's the cat. The duck is the singer. Oh boy, and now look, they're having another squabble. That is the end.